The Intentional Parents Fathers Conference started in 2020 with just one idea, which was to ensure that fatherhood isn't lost.
In 2020, the theme was the boy, the man, and the society.
In 2021, fatherhood involvement became a core. The theme for the year was the involved father.
In 2022, the theme was Daddy, where are you? Because we wanted to know where fathers were.
2023, Daddy is Destiny was our theme. Indeed, the destiny of every child lies with the father.
And in 2024, the theme was Like My Father, because every child, especially the son, eventually becomes like their father.
Dear intentional father, it is with deep honor and heartfelt anticipation that I welcome you to the 6th Annual Fathers Conference themed The Making of a Father, Becoming, Belonging, and Building Legacy. Each year, we gather not just to speak, but to talk about something even deeper than fatherhood. That is redefining it, to elevate it, and to remind ourselves that fathering is more than just a role, it is a sacred journey. This year's theme is both a declaration and an invitation. Becoming is the personal, sometimes painful evolution every man must embrace to grow into the father that the children need. Belonging is the call to community, because no father should walk alone. We become better when we work with others to see, challenge, and uplift us. And building legacy is the responsibility we have, to the point to plant the trees under whose shade our children and their children and their children's children will rest. As we host this transformative online experience, I encourage you to come with an open heart, to come with a willing spirit, and a readiness to unlearn, to relearn, and to rise. This is not just a conference. This is a movement of men who choose to live with love, with presence, and with purpose. Thank you for answering the call. Thank you for choosing intentional fatherhood. Let's build something internal together. With all my heart, my name is Wendy Igwe. I'm called Africa's #1 parent coach, and I'm the founder of the Intentional Parent Academy. Sit back, enjoy the process. We look forward to seeing you at the top. Congratulations.
Hi, my name is Coach Chinda, and I'm part of the Inner Circle Level 2 cohort 2025. I'm an intentional father, and I'm excited to just share very briefly why every father must be part of the Inner Circle. It's called intentional environment, and it's where you work on yourself and where you learn, unlearn, and relearn, so that you can change and become the best father and the best parent that you can be. The interesting thing about the Inner Circle is the fact that it accommodates every level of growth. Whether you've been on this journey, or you're about to start, or you're just about to finish, doesn't matter where you are, there is a place for you here. And this is why you cannot hesitate being part of the Inner Circle. So take action today and join the Inner Circle. The Couples Conclave is that 11-month accountability and rejuvenation program of the Marriage Seal Academy. In this program, we bring couples together from all over the world to join hands, learn, and be taught on the things that you need to do to make sure your marriage is always on fire. It begins every year in January all through to November of the same year. We take a break in December and start again the next January. One of the things that you get to do in the Couples Conclave is that every single day there is a tip on marriage that is shared to all the couples. Every week we have a bonding activity that helps couples to come together and bond. Every month we give one master class on one particular aspect of marriage. And once every year we have a physical retreat where we take ourselves to a resort and have a nice time for a few days. We've had retreats in Abuja, in Lagos, and we're going to have the next one in Uyo. Over the past 4 years that we have had this Couples Conclave, we've had a lot of testimonials from couples who come in as maybe fighters in some cases, and then they eventually become lovers because they've come to learn what it is that they have not known on marriage. There's so much that you can learn in marriage, and the Couples Conclave creates that community where you can come and create that culture of the right marriage, the way God ordained it to be. My name is Kunle Onoge, marriage counselor, founder of the Marriage Seal Academy, and I am the chief host of the Couples Conclave. Join us for the 2026 Couples Conclave program. Registration details are immediately after this. Please enjoy.
Dear fathers, we once again welcome you to the Intentional Parents Fathers Conference 2025, Making of a Father. Let's be honest, being a father is one of the greatest honor and also one of the hardest jobs. There is no off, no switch, most of the time, no support. But what if you didn't have to carry the weight alone? That's why we at the Intentional Parents Academy have put out a pack, Legacy Pack. Inside you'll find the Legacy Mapping Tool, guided reflections on personal fatherhood, the fatherhood inventory, the belonging statement, legacy letter templates, affirmation and declaration for fathers, 30 days intentional fatherhood challenge, template for father-daughter and father-son days guide, prompt card for spark intentional conversation, and the legacy mapping. 10 powerful tools to help you lead, connect and grow, not just as a man but as a father. This is your moment to seize this opportunity and get this pack just for 10,000 naira. This is your moment. At this conference only, the 10-in-1 bundle pack is available at a special rate of 10,000 naira. Don't live with just motivation. Live with tools to help you lead your home well, because your child don't need a perfect dad. They need a present one. Let's rise together.
Yeah, hello and welcome to day 2 of the Fathers Conference 2025 by the Intentional Parents Academy. My name is Stephen Enyoha and I'll be the moderator for this first session. So I'll start with my journey in the inner circle. I'm an intentional father and I'm a prospective father also. So, and I believe in getting ready for something, right? So I think joining the inner circle is a story for another day, because it was really a wonderful setting that got me into the inner circle. So, but the inner circle has really changed my ideas about parenting. You know, growing up, we're taught so many things. We saw so many things growing up too, and we thought those things to be normal. Like, this is normal, that is normal. But the inner circle changed the status quo. So you get to learn about how to parent a child, how to speak to your children, even as a father, how to be present in the lives of your kids, not really lavishing them with gifts and everything. You know, step-by-step process of being a father, being an intentional father. So the inner circle is a place to be. You will learn these things, and apart from that, you also get hands-on tools, strategies, things to do in regards to your children. So it's a place to be. It's a no-brainer, because now this is the 6th month inside the inner circle. And in my reading group, I think it's a privilege for me to be there, and we are making tremendous progress. I've learned so much about the inner circle. I've learned so much in the inner circle. I've learned so much being an intentional father, and I know that I'm going to be an exceptional and amazing husband and an intentional father to my kids. So today is day 2 of the Fathers Conference, the Making of a Father. Yesterday's session was wonderful. The first day, the first session was handled by Pastor Keke, and it was amazing. The second session was handled by I think the King of Boys, Ebuka Edi, and the final session by Mr. Akinola. So it has just been a very wonderful and most amazing conference. So, but back to the inner circle before we now go over to today's to this first session. I invite you to join the inner circle. If you are intentional about parenting as a father, if you really want to know how to parent as a father, you want to be there for your kids. You don't want it to be like, yes, daddy has really gone. Yes, daddy doesn't care. Don't be an absentee father. Be a present father. Because fatherhood is a calling. I usually tell my friends, I say, while like as a little kid, you start up in the nursery school, then you go over to the primary school, you go into the secondary school, and at the secondary school, you write your WASI. That's we call it here WAEC. So you write your WASI, the examination, and all these years was just to prepare you to get into the university. Going through secondary school was just to prepare you to go into the university. So you see, every step of the way you are covered. So peaceful preparation, prior preparation prevents peaceful performance. Some of you that are movie lovers will remember Bellic in Prison Break. You know, he said this. So if you prepare adequately as a father, you will see that fatherhood inside your family will be very, very super amazing. I'll use the word super amazing because you will know what to do and how to do it better. An amazing experience. So I invite you, if you are really contemplating, and forget about those things, what are we going to be? Just be teachable as a man. You need to be teachable. We don't know it all. If you need help, you cry out for help. Yes, I need help because another beautiful thing about this is that the cultural experiences we are having in the world right now has really changed. The roles of fathers have changed. If you are talking about that yours is only provision and protection, women can do that too in our world. They can provide, they can protect, they can get themselves security guards. They can pay bills now. So if you're looking at yourself, oh, it's only provision. Yes, I'm Odogu. Yes, you're Odogu. But at the same time, there are other things that you need to put in place. There are other things that you bring to the table. There are other things you can bring into the lives of your kids to make them better. So right now, we are going to be hearing our speaker for today. You know that we are talking about more than money, transferring value, not just assets. So if you want to be an exceptional father, an intentional father, an amazing father, you don't just transfer wealth, not just assets, not just money. You transfer value. So growing up in the East, I remember so many things that were happening, you know, right in the East, southeastern part of this country, Nigeria. We have so many middle class homes. Parents that will just get into a particular level of life. They are okay, they are just middle class homes, and at least they have a car, they can travel around or something. So when they die, you see that most times their kids suffer to repeat that same feat that they created or that level of success that they had. So why? Because they were busy rushing and going after making wealth and making money, forgetting that the real knowledge and assets and even value, the main thing is in the lives of those children. Because if you give them knowledge and empower them with wisdom, the right way to do things, the right way to do, and they are looking up to you as a father, you see that the knowledge that you've impacted into their lives will transcend beyond you, and they will grow up maintaining that level of success. I usually say that success without succession is failure. So if your kids cannot at least maintain that level of success that you had in life, which means actually you as a father, you were a failure. You didn't really do your job well. So, but in the inner circle, you will learn those things. and that is beautiful. So today we have an amazing speaker, Mr. Chukwuemeka Onyenezi, the founder of the Naira, of the Money Click and Naira Academy. And as a matter of fact, I'm a member of the Money Click. So he's going to be talking to us about more than just money, transferring value, not just assets. So that is what he's going to be teaching us. So I would like the media team to play his bio, the introductory video.
Our next guest is a man who is changing the way we think about money, not just as a means of survival, but as a tool for legacy. Chukwuemeka Onyenezi is a personal finance coach, data scientist, and the visionary founder of the Naira Academy, a fast-growing online platform committed to helping everyday Nigerians achieve financial literacy and freedom, one principle at a time. Through his practical teachings, courses, and insightful content, Chukwuemeka equips individuals and families to make better money decisions, break free from the cycle of debt, and build lasting wealth. He's not just crunching numbers, he's transforming mindsets. He is the author of the widely acclaimed book, Making Financial Literacy an Inheritance, a timely guide helping parents and professionals see money through the lens of discipline, vision, and generational impact. His work stands out for blending data-driven insight with practical, everyday strategies that truly work. Whether he's coaching professionals, mentoring teenagers, or educating families online, Chukwuemeka Onyenezi remains passionate about raising a financially intelligent generation that can steward resources with wisdom. Please welcome to the stage of the TIP Fathers Conference 2025, a builder of legacies through money mindsets, Chukwuemeka Onyenezi.
Beautiful, amazing. Okay, so wonderful to be back online. So right now we have I call him the money man, and so he's here with us live in the studio, and so right now I call him the money man. So he's going to be speaking to us in the next few minutes, and grab your pen and your jotter because we are going to be having so many insights. I promise you, your life will never remain the same as a father after this session. So over to you, Coach. Welcome on board. Thank you so much.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. And I'm glad to be here. I'm more glad that I've been introduced by a fellow billionaire. And to all the billionaires in the house, you know yourselves, I want to say well done. And to the Yadas in the house, fellow Yadas, fellow Yada fathers, I want to say hello to all of you. I want to thank the amiable Coach Wendy Ologe for this platform, for bringing, setting up this conference, for bringing us all here together today, for giving us a platform like this to improve ourselves as fathers. I'm glad to be here. Thank you, and thank you, everyone. Okay, all right. So, well done, everyone. Glad to see you all. Glad to see your comments. I'm very happy. Wonderful billionaires. All right. So, today, I'll be looking at modern money, transferring values and not just assets. So, as fathers, most of us have come to learn that we have to leave an inheritance for our children. Like the Bible said in Proverbs chapter 13, verse 22. It says that, but what most of us do not actually understand, is that inheritance is not just about money. Inheritance is not just about physical assets. Inheritance is also character. Inheritance is also principles. Inheritance is also values. So values are firmly held principles that guide our priorities and finance. Financial values are principles. They are principles that guide our financial life. So if you do not have financial values, it means you don't have a guide in your financial life, right? In personal finance, I would always say that knowledge without values will fail you. Knowledge without values will fail you. So, for example, most of us have the knowledge of savings. Yes, we know what saving is, but what we lack is the savings value. So when you raise up a child as a father, right, you tell them everything it is about saving, and you do not instill that savings value, then something is missing. Something is missing. Now, another thing is that the reason we have failed so woefully as a people, not just Nigeria, Africa as a whole, the reason we've failed so woefully as a people in building what I call family, or like we know, generational wealth, is because we have overlooked these intangible and important skills, right? So we are transferring physical assets. We are transferring physical assets without the adequate knowledge, to manage them. I always say that money and assets transferred without skills is a waste. It's a waste. So we are paying more attention in transferring money and assets, and we fail to transfer the knowledge. We fail to transfer the skills to manage the money. Right? Now, I said in my book, Raising Financially Literate Children, that was introduced earlier, I said in my book that raising financially literate children, I said that the transfer of wealth without knowledge will only add to the statistics of lost generational wealth. So wealth is not just about money. Wealth is not just about physical assets. It's relationships, it's skills, it's financial literacy. But the problem is that we are just transferring the money and the assets. Now, forgetting that there's something required to manage the money and the assets. We're going to get to that. Now, I want to tell you today that as a people, we're at the verge of making a very costly mistake. A very costly mistake of raising children who are not financially literate. Raising children who lack skills in money making, especially skills required to manage and multiply money. Now, if you can manage money, then you're one step away from multiplying it, right? And that step is knowledge. So it's unfortunate that these days we are raising children who don't understand value of money. How can you manage money if you do not understand the value? How? How do we expect to be proud fathers when we can't raise children who can value money? How? How can we be proud fathers when year after year, generation after generation, all we count for is in the statistics of lost generational wealth? Something has to change. Something has to change. And that thing that has to change has to come in the way, has to come in the education of the new generation. And that's why on platforms like Naira Academy that we have brought out, we've decided that we're going to help this generation to push them up to begin to learn more about money, to teach them financial literacy, right? And that's why we developed the Money Click program. We developed the Money Click program where we teach children and teenagers everything they need to know about money. Everything they need to know about money. Right after this program, that is the next program we're going to be having in the Money Click this evening with the kids. Also, you cannot give what you don't have. And because you can't give what you don't have, as a father who wants to raise a financially literate child, we also have the Money Click program that is for adults. And in the Money Click program, we'll have a dedicated module just for teaching inheritance planning. So you need to get on board and start learning. Now, what are the issues? What are the issues with transferring just money, just physical assets, and neglecting those tangible skills? Now, the first is poor money management skills. That's the result. The result is poor money management skills, poor savings habits. We see a result where we have raised children, we've made money, but we have children who lack budgeting skills. But we're about to transfer money to them. Well, they're about to inherit our wealth. We have children who have impulsive spending. We have children who lack all basic money management skills. We have children who are indisciplined. Now, I keep saying, knowledge of money is just 40%. What you do, the rest runs on habits. And what is going to inculcate the habits is or are the principles that we imbibe, right? Are the values and the discipline to put these two things to work. So discipline, financial discipline is key because it is what brings all these other things to fruition. The knowledge, the values, the principles. It's key. Another key issue with this, transferring just assets, is loss of generational wealth, like I talked about earlier. Now, there's a survey in the US that shows that 70% of wealthy families lose their wealth by the second generation. About 90% by the third generation. Now, in Nigeria, it's estimated that 90% of wealthy families lose their wealth by the second generation, not the third. Not the third. Now, this is to show and put more emphasis on the fact that we pay more attention in transferring money and physical assets. We fail to transfer the knowledge and skills to manage the assets. Right? The knowledge required to multiply them. The knowledge required to multiply them. Right? So, wealth is not just about money or assets. Wealth is also skills. Wealth is relationships. Now, when you raise your children to have the right skills, when you give your children the right relationships, then you're sure that they are going to thrive with whatever assets you live with them. The same way, children, we think already that our children should inherit assets. That's the same way our children should inherit good relationships. That's the same way our children should inherit skills. Skills required for them to manage themselves. Skills required for them to manage their money. Now, imagine, I wrote in my book, Raising Financially Literate Children, how we have a lot of billionaire merchants in our nature, right? Who leave cash, properties for their children. But they will not teach these children the most important things. They won't teach them their crafts. They won't teach them their skills. And most importantly, they won't teach them their business values. So how do you think they can carry on? So it's not just about money. Without the skills, without the business values, without teaching them your crafts, they cannot carry on with what you do. They can't carry on. Even if they don't know your craft, they should know your values. The values are key. The values are key. So we need to start changing the trajectory. We need to start doing things differently if our money story will change as a people. And it has to start with the fathers. So as fathers, what do we need to start doing? We need to start teaching financial literacy. It's key. As fathers, we need to take the lead because we are the leaders in the home. So we need to start teaching financial literacy. In my book, Raising Financially Literate Children, I wrote how my father began our financial literacy journey by instilling values, just by teaching us to avoid wastes. Values, principles, they are all the same. They all run in the same line. So when you teach value for avoiding waste in food, you're also teaching value for avoiding waste in other things. What the children pick is the values. It's not just about not wasting food. Right? Now, the second thing we need to start looking at critically is to start planning for generational wealth. Is to start learning even how to do that first. Because you can't give what you don't have. So now there are 3 forms of capital that you must take into advantage in considering and planning for generational family wealth. 3 very critical capital. Now, the first is the financial capital. The second is the human capital. And the third is the intellectual capital. Now, the wealth of every family consists of the financial capital, the human and intellectual capital of the members. Now, a family's financial capital is just a tool to support the growth of the family's human and intellectual capital. So it is not the most important. It's not the most important. When you understand values, then you will understand that the wealth of a family, consists of other things. Consists of other things than just money. Consists of the human and the intellectual capital that we're talking about. Now, you can successfully preserve wealth for generations if the system of governance in your home, in your family, is founded on a set of shared values. So, fathers who are the head of the homes today, for the reason we're having the results we have, means that they have failed to understand the fundamental issues of wealth preservation. And the fundamental issues of wealth preservation are not qualitative. Are not quantitative, but they are qualitative. So what the issue is that most of us have centered our family wealth plan on quantitative goals. Right? On money, on physical assets, on numbers. Overlooking the qualitative goals. The qualitative goals are the values, the character, the integrity, the core principles of our homes. So the main assets of every family is not the financial capital. No. The main assets of a family are its individuals. The individuals are the main assets, not money, not physical assets. Right? And to build these individuals means that we have to shift our focus to the intellectual capital of the family. Remember, I told you there are 3 core capitals, right? The financial, the human, and the intellectual. Now, the intellectual capital of the family is made up of knowledge and values. It's made up of knowledge and values. And when you focus on the intellectual capital, then invariably you're also building up the human capital. So it's key that we begin to refocus. It's key that we begin to shift our focus into these areas. Because that is the problem with our wealth plan. We're concentrating on just moving the money, transferring the money, acquiring assets. And one profound thing is the things that they need to learn, right, on this wealth plan journey are not things that they're really going to learn from school. They're not going to learn the values from school. The family values are the things that we're going to teach at home. So it's key. And one very important thing to also note is that in teaching this, we need to ensure that we're doing it in the most loving and kindest of manner. I'll tell you a story. In the early 19th century, right, there was a man called Marshal Laute, right? One of Napoleon's greatest generals. So he was later buried alongside his commander Napoleon. So he was reported to have a very beautiful garden in France. Wonderful, right? Now, standing with his head gardener one day, he was looking over his estate. He observed that the wonderful specimens of the great trees that were planted there. So Liaote then turned to the gardener and said, I see no beech tree here, right? Then his gardener replied that, mon general, such a tree takes hundreds of years to grow, right? Now, Laote, without a second hesitation, said, then we must plant today. We have no time. We have no time. So, fathers, we must start today. We don't have time. We don't have time. Start with learning. One of the things that we've come to realize is that most times, fathers, we find it difficult to put ourselves in a position to learn. Most of them. But if you're here today, then I am sure you're not among this category of people. But most people find themselves we have this ego of knowledge. We feel like we know it all, we know everything, nobody can teach us, right? And that's the reason why when you come into most, academies, like the TIP, the inner circle, you see mostly women and not men. Because somehow, most of us men feel we know everything. Nobody can teach us. We're not teachable. Now, the moment we begin to see ourselves as not teachable, that is the moment things begin to go haywire. Now, as a people, when it comes to money, we've not had the best of records, right? And we have lived with all this our ego in the past how many years? Why not try something different? Why not take the ego aside and subject ourselves to learn? Subject ourselves into an academy to begin to learn more about money. We thought we understood generational wealth. We thought we understood transfer of wealth. We thought we understood transfer of assets. But so far, statistics are showing that we're doing it so badly. So let's do something different. Let's do something else. Let's do it another way. We need to do it another way. Because the more we keep focusing on what we're doing, then we'll keep getting the same results. So for us to get a different result, then we need to do something different. We need to do something different. Right? We need to take a different approach. We need to take a different angle. We need to do it in a totally, completely different way. Now, and it takes courage. It takes courage. It takes courage to say, I don't want to do it this way. I want to do it another way. Now, think of the courage from the story I told you that it takes to plant the tree that will take 150 years to mature. Right? It means that no one who plants that tree will ever see it fully grown. So someone also would have to invest in love and patience to nurture it. I want you to think about something. Now, in this journey of nurturing our families to become better than what it used to be, then we need to do things differently, right? Think of hurricanes, think of ice, think of snows. Just have a thought. Think of pests, think of fire, right? That may consume this 150-year tree that we're planning while it's too young to withstand those hazards, right? It will need help to survive all these threats. Now, as the tree matures, it has to be tended, right? It has to be protected from even other humans who might want to cut it down. That is how we'll be ensure to protect our families. That is how to ensure we'll protect our human capital as we tend it towards this years-long journey of building generational wealth. of building generational wealth. So the issue or the analogy of growing a tree, is parallel, to raising a family, a generation of wealth builders, a generation of wealth, creators. So we need to start now, because it's already late. It's already late. To embark on this long-term wealth preservation, it's going to take an extraordinary courage. And somebody has to take the first step. And as fathers here today, I'm encouraging all of us to take that bold step. Take that bold step today. Start with learning, I'll say again. Start with learning. Everything would start and end with learning. Learn. Put your children in the position to learn. When you learn, it gives you an advantage. You can now teach your children. But we have to get to that point as a people when we are transferring more than money. Where we are transferring more than values. Because we've transferred money for quite how many years of our existence as a people together. How many families can we count that they have generational wealth, that have succeeded more than 3 generations, more than 2 generations? Just quite a very few of them. So things need to change. And that change must begin with us being fathers, because we play a very crucial role in the family. We play the role of leaders in our various families. And so as leaders, we need to take the step. We need to take the first step of learning. We must stop being in the backstage. We need to take the first step in parenting, because at the end of the day, it comes down to parenting. Right? You want to raise children who are financially literate, then you need to learn parenting. We need to stop being in the backstage. We need to stop making it feel like it's all for our wives to do. No, we have a job to do. It is our first responsibility, like Coach Wendy will say. Our wives are just here as supporters. It's not different from teaching our children money. It's not different. So we must take the bold step. We must begin to lead as the leaders that we are. And only then we will begin to see the change in trajectory. Only then are we going to start seeing the shift in paradigm. So more than just money, we will need to start transferring values. We will need our children to start inheriting our knowledge. We will need our children to start inheriting our relationships. Because these things might seem small, they might seem little, but they are the most of the tangible. Without these things, the money and the assets will be squandered. There are so many stories out there for us to learn from, a lot of them, where we have over and over again, money, wealth have been transferred to children without the requisite knowledge, without the requisite skills, without the requisite values and principles to cater for them. And at the end of the day, everything went down the drain. So we need to change the trajectory of things. We need to become courageous as the men that we are. We need to take the leadership of the home very seriously. And we need to begin to realize that we have to run the business, our family is like a business. Now, earlier on, I mentioned that there are 3 critical capital that we must have, right? I mentioned the financial, I mentioned the human, right? And I mentioned the intellectual capital. Imagine that you're running a business and your business is running on just one aspect of the capital and you don't even understand the other aspects. Then it means that you're not a serious business person. It means that your business is not going to grow. So we must begin to see and use the same approach in running our families. We need to run it like a business that will profit, like a business that will stand the test of time. And for us to be able to do that today, then we must become bold leaders. We must become bold CEOs, right, of our families. We must be courageous in doing what we need to do, right? We must ensure to instill the right principles in our children. Let's stop thinking that we were born with all the knowledge we require that we need. If we did, we won't be here where we are as a people. So things need to change. And the first thing I'll always say is just to start changing with gaining the right knowledge for us. It's to start changing with throwing away that ego we have as men to subject ourselves to learning. We need to learn. And learning is a continuous thing to the day we die. So if you've been doing it in a particular way and it hasn't worked out, please try another way. Try the way of knowledge. Try the way of knowledge. Our fathers have tried it in a particular way, it didn't work out. So we need to do things differently. We need to start learning wealth building. I keep saying that a lot of times we make a lot of money. But even with the money we make, we find it difficult from transferring our money from riches to wealth. I keep saying there's a difference in being rich and in being wealthy. Being wealthy, you stay rich. Being rich, anything can happen. Right? So we need to move from a point of being rich to becoming wealthy, staying rich. Staying rich. Because it's key to our preservation. It's key to our preservation. And it's going to come only from knowledge. Multiplying money is strictly dependent on knowledge. And if you ever feel at any point in time that you do not need knowledge for it, then you'll be making a huge mistake. That knowledge can come from academies like Naira Academy, can come from the Money Click program. It can come from you having the right people around you. There's a lot of things that you can learn from people around you. I will never stop telling this story. I always tell people in the Money Click, fellow billionaires who are here, I always tell them about the story of a friend whose father in those days in Jos was so rich. He was so rich that he could afford to go to any wedding you call him for, he goes there with a new vehicle. That was how rich he was then. But today, he can no longer afford his diabetic drugs. He can't. And it came out of the arrogance of knowledge. Nobody could speak to him about investing. Nobody could tell him what to do with his money. And at the end of the day, when he could walk no more, he had nothing anymore left. So financial literacy is key. It's key. For us to change the trajectory of the next generation, then we need to start from ourselves. We need to do something different. We need to learn. We need to learn. There's this ego of knowledge among men that makes men not to want to learn, that makes men not to want to listen. It's something we need to keep away if things are going to change. Most times when I look at the inner circle and I see the amount of mothers in the inner circle as compared to the amount of men in the inner circle, I just shake my head. And I tell myself, oh man, we need to do better. Fathers, we need to do better. And if you're here today and you are a man and you're not yet in the inner circle program, then you are making a huge mistake, please. Because that is a place where you need to be. Because for most of us who are here today, the inner circle program has transformed our lives. As fathers, as men, as leaders in homes, right? We've come to believe, other than what we used to believe, that men are the number one parents of the home. The same way today, I want to tell you also about money. About money. Subject yourself to learn more about money. Do something different. Now, if you come from a background of a bit of scarcity, then no matter how much you are, it's very possible that you might be running on a blueprint of scarcity. No matter how much money you think you have. Because now the scarcity is of the mindset. Your bank account can tell a different story. Now, what your children will mostly take from you is your mindset. So that's why it's key that you subject yourself in the place of learning and begin to change your mindset. Begin to restructure, begin to rewrite your blueprints. Your blueprints has to change. if things will change for your children. Now, when you write your blueprint, when you change your mindset, automatically you have changed the trajectory of inheritance for your children. Now, when we talk about transferring just money, just assets, it doesn't mean that we're not transferring other things. We are. The only thing is that we do not have it right in ourselves to give to them. So that's the reason why you will give your children a lot of money. You will leave them with a lot of money and they will squander it. Why? It's because there's somebody in the home whom they learned it from, whom they did not get the right values from. So what am I trying to say? What I'm trying to say is, it doesn't matter how much you have for you to begin to learn financial literacy. It's not about how much you have. It doesn't matter. Now, when it comes to pushing it all to the next generation, then you need to understand that there's a place of learning. There's a place of knowledge. You need to understand that it's not just about what you know. You need to understand that it starts from you. You might be making a whole lot of money today, but you still have very wrong financial habits. And you might not even know you do until you subject yourself to a place of learning. When you learn something different, that's when you understand that what you've been doing all has been wrong. So I say again with all emphasis that financial literacy is key. I say again that if we must transfer more than money, if we must transfer values, if we must transfer knowledge, if we must transfer key principles, right? If we must learn, if we must transfer relationships, then we need to start learning how to do it and how to do it right. So we'll be ending it here today. I want to thank you all for your keen attention. I want to thank you for giving me all your ears, all your attention, and I know that you got all the message that you are supposed to get here today. And I'm happy to be here to speak to all of you fathers. And I hope that next year we'll be back here again to make it even better. Let's continue to be great fathers. Let's continue to be leaders. Let's take up the leadership mantle. Let us become courageous. Fatherhood requires courage. So we need courage to take up the responsibilities that are meant for us, be it parent-wise, be it money-wise. Right? So thank you, everyone here today, and I'm glad.
Wow, so wonderful a session. It was really a mind-blowing session. Thank you, Coach Chukwuemeka Onyenezi. Even if I didn't get anything in this session, the most amazing tip that I got here is that we should be teachable as fathers, and we shouldn't just transfer money and wealth. We should also transfer values. So right now, I'm going to call for a break, but let our audience, you have questions, you can send them in. You can send in your questions so that when we are right back, Coach Chukwuemeka will answer those questions and clear any doubts that we have. Thank you. So media team, help us with the break. Thank you.
There was a time I didn't know how to say no, didn't know who to trust, which led me into bad relationships and reckless decisions. I was confused, alone, depressed day and night. I wondered why I was even made. Everything I tried failed. My academic relationship, the pain, rejection, it was too much to bear. I couldn't fit in anywhere. I was always left out, which made me lose my self-worth. And then, at Setima's book, Scheming, it was like a key, not just a book with pages and covers, but a roadmap out of confusion. Our books brought light, made a shift in the way I think, made me saw my worth, that I was more than just a pretty face. I am powerful. It brought me out of my derailment and made me more focused. Then boom, this is me now. You don't want to miss out on her new and engaging books. Join the waitlist for the mega flash sale. I'm sure you would not want to miss it. A little sneak peek. Number 1 book, Red Flags Don't Lie. Trust me, they don't. The second book, The Magic of House Chores. House chores can be fun. Yes, it can be. Number 3, no is enough. No is a very powerful word. Yes, trust me. No, knowing who to follow, passionate, with spiritual intelligence, girl, and many other books. Trust me. Yes, this is a great opportunity for you. You do not want to miss it.
Okay, so we're back. Thank God that we're here. So if you are not a father and you just missed this, or you're just joining us, just know that you've given yourself an extra 1 hour after 8 p.m. because you are going to go back and start from this first session. So thank you, Coach. So right now, I think the questions are still coming in. So if we have some of them, let us just bring them up to Coach so that he can give us the answers to them and make some explanations. So let's have the questions, please. Okay. Okay, so right now there are no questions for now. So thank you so much, Coach. I believe that the session was really point clear. Everybody really got a piece of that, and the most amazing part of fatherhood in regards to finances is that you recreate yourself. You recreate yourself, just like success without succession is failure. So, and Coach has said it all. So I will encourage every one of us, you are here, you are a father, either you joined by chance, but know that predestination is at work in you. There is a reason why you are here. Even if you are going to be watching later, something really prompted you, or God touched someone somewhere to join this particular session. And also, I will encourage every father here, join the inner circle. The inner circle is a place to be as a father. Go there. There is so much to learn. The traditional ways of doing things are over. See, the world has changed. What we used to know, you see, our fathers, the traditional roles then, and so many things that they did, things have changed. So if you are still glued to that traditional roles, ways of doing things and saying this, blah, 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 I am the head of the family, because once you start saying I'm the head of the family, you are no longer the head, because you don't even need to announce it. So right now, I will encourage you to join the inner circle. We have a whole lot. The society, the weight of the society is upon us, is upon our shoulders. We have a whole lot to carry. And when we have intentional fathers, you will see that our families will be better. Our families will be amazing. And the society at large will be wonderful. So thank you so much. Even the money click, if you are not a millionaire in regards to being a member of the money click, you are missing so much. So I encourage you to go for knowledge. And one of the steps is by joining the inner circle, joining the Money Click program. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Coach Wendy. Thank you, the Gov. Thank you, the team. And every father out there. Thank you, Coach Chukwuemeka. Thank you so much for gracing this occasion. And we are so happy to be here. So thank you so much for having me. Yeah, bye for now.
Welcome to the Intentional Parent Academy TIP 2024 Annual Conference tagged Raising Kings. I am Ben Wale from Rivers State, Nigeria. Before I met Coach Mindy Olonge, I have been into parenting, counseling at different levels, and my parenting style and method was just a mixture of many things put together, principles, ideas, processes mixed up together. Coming across Coach Mindy Olonge brought about the streamlining of my parenting processes, systems, and structures. My journey in the inner circle has been very, very eventful, transformative, rewarding, and knowledge gathering. Since I joined the inner circle in 2024. All the old practices and styles of parenting I was used to have been dropped with the new ideas I acquired in the inner circle. Today, my parenting style is pursued with a sense of intentionality, with a sense of humility, meekness, and civility. I see parenting as all about me and not the people I'm trying to parent. I have realized the importance of skill acquisition and also the power of connection in all I do with my children. Since 2024, I joined the inner circle. I have been transformed. My idea of parenting has changed. For you to parent effectively, you must be able to connect with the person you want to correct. Without knowledge, you cannot go far in the 21st century as far as parenting is concerned. By the time you join the inner circle, all the normalized parental approaches and styles you have known over the years will be rewired. Coach Windy is going to revive your parenting skills, and he is going to make you understand what it means to be an effective and caring parent in the 21st century. In TIP, we create movements and not just programs and courses. That is why you have to be part of it. I have to especially thank Coach Windy Olonge for the opportunity given to me to express myself in this TIP 2024. I am not taking it for granted. My advice to viewers, find it very, very necessary to be part of the Intentional Parent Academy program. They will not regret it. Thank you and God bless.